Police say we cut the chit-chat, a-hole.
This year we're going to grab the bull by the balls and kick those punks off campus.
Well, looks like the cows have come home to roost.
Welcome along to the movie show brought to you by our pals at Odeon Cinemas. With Limitless from Odeon, you can see all the films you want as often as you like from only $19.99 per month and use it in any Odeon cinema in Ireland. For more information, see odeoncinemas.ie. This week we're talking about a huge poll we had on site. We want to know what you think has been the best blockbuster of the summer. Comment below with your favourite. And now it's time for us to argue about just that. But before we do, Logan Lucky Logan. We were just talking about that in terms of like blockbusters for the summer and kind of movies underperforming, some movies overperforming. I kept calling it Lucky Logan, and he was like, no, it was called
Logan Lucky.
The name of the film is Logan Lucky, which is really good film.
Really good
and
film.
Bombed at the box office.
And it's such a shame as well because it's exactly the kind of film that I think if it was released about 5-6 years ago, even longer, it would have done really well. Like it's just, I don't know, like because it wasn't made for a huge amount of money.
It's a hillbilly Ocean's 11.
That's basically
that's the pure kind of sell of it.
Yeah, and like Daniel Craig is brilliant in it. Adam Driver is brilliant in it. Channing Tatum, great in it as well.
Channing Tatum's always kind of good, isn't
it?
It's very good.
Fierce underrated.
But like Daniel Craig is so playing against type in this. Like he's playing this big bruiser, who is also bomb expert.
Yeah,
but he's playing him like he's not like slick and really refined or whatever. Like he's got tattoos all over him. You know, he's in prison. It's almost kind of like something like the Coen Brothers would do. You know,
that's exactly
like Oprah would do. Yeah, but it hasn't done well at the box office. But like if you see it, it's like you were saying, you're going to go see it tomorrow, aren't you?
Yes, I'm looking forward to it very much.
It's so good. It's so good.
I think it's going to be one of those films that finds a real home on streaming services and. And people are going to find it, are going to stumble across it, find it and love it. And I know like Soderbergh made it quite cheaply. I think he made it for $30 million.
Something like that, yeah. But it's funny you say that because like there's a lot of like Soderbergh films that have ended up that way, as in they have a real cult following.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't like the best example I can think of is Out of Sight. Out of Sight is on my top 5 of all time. I absolutely love Out of Sight. And it didn't do well in the box office, but now it's kind of
gave George Clooney that credibility as a leading man.
Exactly, yeah.
Less so Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez as a leading lady. She's amazing in it.
Yeah, and Dennis Farina was in it, and Don Cheadle was brilliant in it as well, and Steve Zahn. Like if you haven't seen Out of Sight, watch it. It's just a fantastic.
So Logan Lucky, Logan Lucky, not Lucky Logan.
Yes.
Look at me. It's in cinemas now. We didn't get a chance to review it last week, but do check it out. Okay, we want to talk about
the poll.
We have a big poll on site about what people think is the best blockbuster of the summer. It's been relatively lean. I think with a couple of exceptions, and Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Wonder Woman. It hasn't been a particularly phenomenal summer at the box office.
There have been quite a few disappointments. Like there was like just to name a couple off the top of my head, Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. That was kind of a disappointment. King Arthur, which I maintain wasn't as bad as people said.
I enjoyed King Arthur.
It was a bit of crack. Yeah. It was, but again, it just didn't do great. But then there were some big surprise hits as well. Wonder Woman, you saw that coming. And then some kind of ones that you expected to do well did as well as they did, like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. But you know, there's been quite a good mix. I've been quite happy with this summer. Yeah.
What about you, Brian?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I do think there has been, as Dee correctly pointed out, there's been a lot of bombs.
Yeah,
I mean, there's been a lot of
bombs. You went first, Gordon Hayden there.
Sorry,
there's been a lot of bombs at the cinema,
but there has
in the box office.
But there has been though. But at the same time,
you watch this and you fucking kill me.
But at the same time, I hope he's not watching this. But at the same time, though, I do think that it's been a bit of an odd summer in the fact that, like, as you say, like you had Wonder Woman, which nobody expected to do well as it did, and then you had something like War for the Planet of the Apes, which was a brilliant film and did relatively okay.
Those films have all kind of the Planet of the Apes movies have all been incredibly well reviewed and just done fine.
Yeah, that's it. They've just been like,
I think they're probably in and around the $100 million mark, which isn't huge money for a blockbuster nowadays. So kind of churn out a profit for 20th Century Fox.
Yeah, that's it. And it almost seems like it's the sort of thing that like they do them and they expect them not to do well. Sort of like, look, we'll put it out in the summer and we'll give it a chance.
Yeah,
doesn't do well, it doesn't matter. We're going to give you another one anyway.
Yeah.
And yeah, War for the Planet of the Apes was fantastic. It was absolutely brilliant. And then you had Dunkirk as well. And the interesting thing about Dunkirk,
is Dunkirk leading in the poll? It is
leading
in the poll. Yeah. What's interesting about Dunkirk is that I remember when I went to see it the second time, it's one of the very few times I've seen like a real cross section of people at it, because you had young people like our age who were like mad into Christopher Nolan and would watch any of his films, and then at the other end of it you had like older couples who were into war films and stuff like that, were big into history.
That crossover appeal.
Yeah, just a complete crossover appeal. And like again, you don't see many films like that.
Do you think it's unusual that it hasn't made as much money as Interstellar at the domestic box office, Steve? Which is Nolan's weakest film, probably.
I don't know. I mean, it could be to do. It's really hard to say. I mean, maybe it's because Interstellar that kind of followed immediately after the Dark Knight trilogy, didn't it? So maybe it had that bit more momentum around it. And maybe it was also, like, as far as I remember, Interstellar was sold really hard on the 3D and the IMAX and stuff like that, wasn't it? So possibly that would explain why it kind of did better.
Final 10 minutes of that film are so severely up its own hoop. It
was such a good build-up, and then the ending was like, why'd you go and do that? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Incredible.
Yeah.
But to be fair though, like with Interstellar, I do think it was really based around Matthew McConaughey. That kind of like he was front and center in it. This was his film. You had Anne Hathaway and you had
it was a height of reconnaissance.
Yeah, it was the reconnaissance, whatever. But it was really about him, and like it was built around him. Whereas Dunkirk, there's no it has Harry Styles in it, and it has Cillian Murphy, and it has Tom Hardy and all these people. You look at any of the promotion for it, none of them are front and center.
Chris Nolan's front and center in a way that Steven Spielberg was kind of way back when.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's very much his film, or Christopher Nolan's film. Yeah, but there's no one person that you can kind of point to and say, "Oh yeah, he's in this." And like people forget as well, like when you go to the not everyone goes to the cinema knowing exactly who's going to be in it. Like they'll just look at the poster, or even cares. They'll just look at the poster and say, "Oh yeah, Matthew McConaughey's in that. Give me one for Matthew McConaughey."
Or they used to,
or whatever. But you know what I mean. Like so. It's
what's been your favorite of the summer? I think I noticed the answer to this one.
Well, can I pick two?
You can.
Yes. Okay, Wonder Woman.
Told you.
Yeah, which I've been like talking about obviously for weeks on the show. I think Wonder Woman to me is like what is John Wick to you. Okay, we're not getting into that because I can't even start with that. Anyway, Wonder Woman is
start at D.
No, it's
just call him out, D.
Call him out. Look right into the camera. Jim Cameron.
I'm not happy with you right now, James Cameron.
Jim Cameron and those lanky blue bastards. I'll tell you what yous can do. That's what you do. You want to start calling him out anyway, D. Sorry for
and I mean, I went to T2 and 3D and everything yesterday, and I was like,
James Cameron's a phenomenal
He is brilliant.
director.
Yeah. But I mean, what he was saying was just like, I mean, I kind of, before I even read the full story, and I just read James Cameron's comments, what he was saying in terms of like, female characters and they should be all like, kind of the way I define them. And I'm like, but that's a really narrow definition of what like strong female role models should be. And then when I read Patty Jenkins' response, it pretty much exactly echoed that. So me and Patty Jenkins.
It was classy response from Patty Jenkins. That was. She was like, whatever, Jim, do one.
Yeah.
And sorry, what was your second film?
So my second film, yes, would be War for the Planet of the Apes. I just thought it was so brilliant in terms of special effects, action, and it was like so emotional as well. It really was an effective film.
Andy Serkis, and I hope he gets some sort of
exactly.
And
having watched like the original like one from the 60s and seeing like the new ones, I really think that it really wrapped up that trilogy like beautifully.
What do we think of Spider-Man?
I know.
Like kind of retrospectively. Spider-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy. They're the two probably biggest hits of the year.
Yeah.
Excluding Despicable Me, which is more of a family film, which is past, I think, $1 billion at the box office.
Something like that,
yeah. So what do we think of those?
Yeah, like Spider-Man Homecoming, I thought was really, really well done. Like it was so well made. Tom Holland was the perfect choice for it. Michael Keaton, Jesus Christ, we can't talk enough about Michael Keaton and how good he was in this. Whereas Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, the more I think on it now, I'm sort of like, like it was good. Yeah, it was good. It was very good. Kurt Russell did well in it. It did feel a bit creaky. Now that I think about it, it seems a bit more creaky. Like I do think, in the fullness of time, I think Spider-Man Homecoming was probably the better film of the two. I think anyway. But I'm interested to see what to do with the third one.
I mean, I absolutely loved Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and it's funny, anyone who I've talked to, basically I wasn't mad about the first one. I went to it and thought I don't see what the big deal is about this. And I really liked the second one. And anyone who I've talked to who wasn't that mad on the first one has also preferred the second one. So maybe
is that something to do with Chris Pratt and what James Gunn did with Chris Pratt's character?
Yeah.
Because with Star-Lord, because in the first movie it was kind of the Chris Pratt show, and it was him just kind of showcasing his charisma and those kind of comedic chops.
Yeah.
Whereas the second one, he's more a part of the plot. Do you think that is something to do with people's palate, people's taste on, you know, what side of the Chris Pratt fence they sit on?
But at the same time as well, I do think there was a big part of it with regards to Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. No one knew who Chris Pratt was realistically. Like, I mean, he did Parks and Rec, and that was obviously.
I know people were all like, "I like chubby Chris Pratt,"
but
I like you. Stop lying.
Stop lying.
You like sexy Chris Pratt. You like him more.
Stop your lying. But no, I mean, there was no expectation on the first one. Do you know that kind of way? Like, a lot of people were like,
kind of expecting it to fail.
Yeah, oh no, I was. I fully admit it. I fully expected Guardians of the Galaxy to fail. I was like, no one's ever heard of this. It's not like Superman or Iron Man or any of these characters that people know. No one really knows the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Just showing your narrow-minded ignorance.
And there you go. And like, I made it look like a chump because it did really, really well, and it was really well received, and it was a really good film. And now coming into the second one, you have that weight of expectation.
Yeah.
The first one, like, oh, this has got to be good. The soundtrack's got to be brilliant. It's got to have this. It's got to have that. And while it did have all the things that was necessary for it to be a good film, at the same time, it was coming like, you know, there was just it didn't have the same charm as the first one.
Yeah,
I think that's a lot of it.
I mean, I kind of come at it from a kind of a weird angle as well, I suppose, because I enjoyed the second half of Atomic Blonde a lot. A lot. The first half, we kind of spoke about it before, wasn't great. Second half, absolute blast.
Yeah.
This year's just been kind of stale for me, and I mean that's the film that's top of the American box office right now is The Hitman's Bodyguard, and I know I think you guys are going to go and see it this week, and I went to see it again recently.
You went the second time?
Went to see it a second time.
Oh yeah,
and it's just a really good time. It's just a really fun, no bullshit, you know, crass, action heavy, you know, relatively lean and cheap. Movie that just showcases Samuel L. Jackson and Ryan Reynolds doing what they do, and you know, kind of been at the top of their game, especially Ryan Reynolds right now. And I can see how Ryan Reynolds refined that script back and went, I want to make this funnier. You know, apparently it's much more serious. Dee spoke before with Safe House, something more along those lines previously.
That's what I thought.
And after Deadpool, I think Ryan Reynolds was like, no, I think people kind of want to see me doing this. If me and Samuel L. Jackson are going to be in a movie together, I think this is what.
Yeah, he's got to lean on his
I enjoyed The Big Sick as well. A lot. I know these are not necessarily blockbusters. Sure. Hitman's Bodyguard's doing very well. Enjoyed The Big Sick a lot. It's the best reviewed film of the year so far also. Which again, we've spoken about that before, can go either way. 98% Rotten Tomatoes generally means everybody agrees.
Yeah.
It's not exactly polarizing.
No, not at all.
A Kingsman's still to come.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all September, but Kingsman I think you could class in that blockbuster frame.
Yeah.
You've got stuff like Mother and a bunch of other stuff.
I'm really looking forward to
Goon 2, which I'm really looking forward to.
How have we not mentioned it yet?
Oh yeah.
Does that count? Because Annabelle Creation has
Yeah.
done extremely well.
Yeah,
that's true. That would kind of be, I've noticed this, that most summers you kind of get your one big summer release, and maybe possibly they delayed it slightly so it wouldn't have to compete with Annabelle Creation, because Annabelle Creation's actually, that did quite well in the box
very
office.
well.
It did better than they
it
expected.
is projected to make a shitload of cash.
That is gonna, like, that I can actually tell you right now, that is gonna make a fortune. That is going to make so much money. And like, I've even noticed.
You didn't think Guardians of the Galaxy would make money though, so why should the viewers listen to you, Brian?
No, but to be fair though, anytime I've ever written a story about it, it's like a lot of people, like it's gets a lot of traffic. Like people are really.
You can tell it's a really good gauge for stuff, isn't it?
Exactly. That's always like whenever I see a film that like has a lot of like traffic behind them, people are interested and keep following it. And it has been like that, so I think it's going to make a huge ton of money.
So we're going to be talking it next week.
That's right.
In a position hopefully where we've all seen it, and Wind River 2, which I know you were crazy about. It's Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah.
So we'll catch back up next week, Brian. You can't see your nipples at all. You were worried.
I was worried.
He was worried. Brian's worried.
Thanks for pointing that
Brian
out.
was worried. So Dee was like, "Why are you wearing a hipster Germany top from the 1990 World Cup?"
It's not actually. It's West Germany. It's West Germany. Yeah, it's West Germany. It's vintage.
The Atomic Blonde vibe.
See?
Such a hipster, Brian.
We always have to pick at his insecurities, though. It's like
Thanks
inevitable.
I forgot to do it at the start of the show, which generally sets the tone.
True.
For the rest
I was kind of hoping that you hadn't done anything in the first 5 minutes. I was like, oh, thank God, he's going to leave me alone.
It's kind of bullying, isn't it? It is a little bit like it is. I'm sorry, Brian. I'm sorry.
It's borderline.
Don't report me to HR.
Grand
Just a reminder to let us know what you thought were the best blockbusters of the summer below. Thanks so much to Charlotte Reed for production, and we'll see you 9 p.m. next Thursday.